and welcome to today's channel. This is the Culture Tray by Omosola. In this channel, we talk about anything and everything that has to do about culture, food, films, books, clothing, just everything. Of clothes. I want to say a big thank you and shout out to my friend Celine. In Kisumu, Kenya. Celine got this beautiful kimono and a couple of others for me, and this is really beautiful. Thank you so much, Celine. So you guys if you would like to patronize Celine, she's in Kisumu, and I'm gonna leave her number down there. She really has good taste in fabric. Yeah, it's really beautiful fabric. It's worth all the hassle. Welcome to the channel. I hope that you had a very beautiful transition from 2024 to 2025, and you're just ready to steer ahead the year and to hit some of those goals that you had written down last year. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you achieved them last year. You can always keep going on and on until the time you achieve them, but you give a conscious effort to do so. So, in this episode, we will be talking about the film Makosa Yangu, produced by Abel Mutua and his team at Philip Production. And it's a really beautiful film, that helps us to reflect on femicide, which in the recent years has become an increasing concern in Kenya.
Rising trend of women being found gruesomely murdered in Kenya has raised questions on a worrying trend in the country.
Thousands of people have marched through the streets of Nairobi calling for an end to the violence.
In every society, women play a vital role as mothers, daughters, sisters, and contributors to the fabric that binds us. Yet, despite their invaluable contributions, women face a growing threat, a dark shadow that looms over our communities. We can no longer turn a blind eye to this grave issue. It is not just a women's issue, it is a societal issue that demands our collective attention. Women are not just victims, they are the backbone of our society. They nurture, they inspire, and they lead. We must recognize their importance and take a stand to protect them.
And to our fellow men, we must acknowledge our responsibility. We are not just bystanders. We are crucial participants in creating a safer world for all. Educate our children, empower our women, and hold accountable those who perpetrate violence. Together, we can build a society where women feel safe and valued. In the face of femicide, let us stand united. Let love be our strength and justice be our guide. It is time to say, enough is enough. Together, we can stop femicide and build a future where every woman can thrive. We will, we shall, we can.
Yeah, it's lots of news items about women being killed left, right, and center, and it's not a good show. Yeah, so it's really a beautiful film. If you haven't watched it, you really want to go and watch Makosa Yangu, and just get to have a glimpse of what it feels like. How power comes to play, the relationships back at home, and how these relationships shape how we interact with our parents, with our siblings, and equally traumas, traumas that are unattended to can actually either shape or break us in how we interact or how we go about our day-to-day activities. So kudos to the Abel and the team, Philip Productions. Thank you so much for blessing us with this film. And so I'm going to be looking at the film a lot more from a very critical angle as somebody who does research in identity and cultural representations in films. And we're going to look at several aspects of the film that I feel would have warranted that several parts of the film that actually warrant some sort of development, and yeah, that's basically it. So sit down, enjoy. First of all, I'm just going to give you a glimpse of what Makosa and Yangu looks like. And I am one person who is excited about seeing African storytellers come out to tell stories in their own languages, in the way that they want to be seen out there in the world, in the way that they want to shape the discourses that surround society within the context of the African culture. You know, issues of politics, gender, environment, you know, climate change, all of those things, family, and just everything, and how we want our stories to be told, because you know what's better than you telling your own stories. Yeah, so I'm gonna leave you with this film. Is it what is it, like a short clip of what Makosa and Yangu looks like, and I would encourage you to actually watch it.
When life grabs you by the boob.
Nimba nayo.
Hata ukikaa mbaya takushika shika sawa.
You either turn the other one or get the hell out. I chose the latter.
Mami, hiyo kazi haiwezi.
Yaani kama kazi ambayo huwezi kufanya, kazi gani ingine utakayofanya wewe?
Nafisa.
Jojo.
I can't believe this is happening, Mama.
I'm saying this.
Nafisa. Because the grass is always green on the other side. Or is it?
Saint is 100% his father's son.
Saint ni mnyama. Tulikuwa tuna date naye for 3 months and it's a miracle that I'm alive. Mama Nafisa, she's dancing on the crocodile's mouth. Mwambie akimbie na akimbie mbali kabisa.
It's only a matter of time before he puts someone to the ground.
You and I. are joined at the hip.
How do you assault a body?
Makosa. Yangu.
Now that you have an idea of what the film is about, so we're gonna be doing this a little bit differently, because I do not have the power or the capacity to remember everything. So what do? I write everything down so that I don't miss out on the points that I feel are very important about my review on the film. First of all, generally, it's a very good film based on the, if you're talking about camera and choice of actors, the storyline is a relatable storyline to a lot of us. Generally, and it's a very good film to put out or to start the discussions on gender-based violence and how to pick it up from there and just find out the nitty-gritties of what we're missing out in the society and how we're dealing with gender-based violence. And really, that's what films are about now. We're moving from a place where we are just watching this thing in the news, but now bringing it into the film and making it, elongating it, to make it something that we can actually make a discussion about. I'll just mention like a few cases of gender-based violence in Kenya that have recently happened that may have led to it's just been sad to have this kind of cases, and what is the society doing about it? It's fascinating that a society that is supposed to be, or a society that is seen to be very social and very together, is unable to actually solve issues such as gender-based violence. I mean, where does the rain start beating us from? Yeah, and so my very first concern, or my very first the very first thing that I will mention is the choice of using of Nafisa's friend Jojo, calling her Saint Nafisa, and then she goes ahead and meets this rich young man called Saint, and the way it is opposite, Saint is actually not a saint, and then the story unravels, and you see that his behaviors stem from somewhere, from a lack of something, and that is one of the things that we would make an assumption of. We make an assumption that we shield our children from discussing with them about gender-based violence within the home. We have normalized gender-based violence within the home so much sometimes, and violence is in different ways. It could be violence or abuse is in different ways. It could be financial abuse, it could be emotional abuse, physical abuse, and as women, we are made to be strong, if I may say, and that's what Saint's mother represents. You would wonder, somebody would ask, why wouldn't she leave? But we create notions of such things as, I'd rather cry in a Range Rover than go laugh in a bicycle or go life in a tricycle. Yeah? That Saudi soul song that says, Eriniliye kwenye Range Rover, ama nicheke kwenye boda boda. What is it? Kose usingizi runda. Yeah, that.
Kuna watu wa aina nyingi duniani, kuna watu fani, na kabla sijatamba kwenye fani, sikuishi na amani. Nilikesha na maombi, nikiomba Mungu anipe nafasi, nikaanza kuimba, mabinti wanisaka, kuna kule wanichangamkia yeye. Aiyo, heri ulie kwenye Range Rover, ama ucheke kwenye boda boda, ukose usingizi runda, masaibu yanakufuata.
And this exactly is the purpose of entertainment. What kind of messages that the entertainment industry propagate? So you look at Saint's mother and you wonder what kept her there. Why couldn't she just leave? And this is some of the things that one of the things that the film doesn't really bring out clearly. That why doesn't Saint's mother leave? Is it because of the money? Is it because of the money or the wealth? Is it because of Saint? Is it because, does she have a job? What exactly does she do? And it's important to have this kind of things, just small details in a film, so that it helps to understand or to peel out the whole idea of why is this particular character in this particular way. The idea that Saint's mother does not engage him in letting him know who his father was, or why do we hide misunderstandings, or why do we hide fights from children? Why do we do that? Why do we hide fights from children? Why do we shield them from it? We protect them, and then we assume that they would get to understand what's going on. But no, because look at what happens to Saint. It does not necessarily mean that his mother was shielding everything from him. But then when hell breaks loose, and then in an act of defense, she kills the father, she's unable to now explain why this has happened. And I think that is a very good point that the film brings out, because it becomes very important to begin to address these issues from a very tender age. So for Nafisa's mother, we are left hanging about where did the rain start beating? Where did the rain start beating them in terms of her relationship with her daughters? Like, at what point exactly? And I think leaving out these details, even though the idea of a film is not to give you everything, but there are certain details that, if we're going to be having discussions about gender-based violence and trying to unpack it, we need these details with us, and we need to understand, okay, why is she so angry about Nafisa? I mean, what contribution did Nafisa make in making her this bitter woman who doesn't care about her child at all. So much so that when Nafisa is having similar issues, she's the one that actually encourages Saint to go ahead and beat him up. And Saint is so smart when he realizes that he's got control, and that is what narcissists or narcissistic behaviors entail, is that when you're able to alienate the person from their people, and you can tell that they don't have anybody to fall back on, in which case he notices that right from the beginning when they take the goods and the money and the gifts to Nafisa's mother, but back in the village where they are, it's a quite sad, and it's a very good thing that this film is out here to bring or highlight these kind of things. Yeah. Another part that I wanted to talk about is that the police or the authorities, what it's the film gives us a very clear picture of what happens when you go to you go to report a case of gender-based violence or abuse to authorities, and they don't believe you, one, because of maybe what you look like or what you look like or what society has made them to think women are supposed to be behaving like, or men are supposed to be behaving like. Like, for example, if a man goes to police station, maybe ask, "Are you kidding me? Your wife beat you? Are you normal?" Like it's absurd, And so it's sad that when and twice when Nafisa bumps into the authorities, she's unable, or she's not even given the chance to explain why she's the way she is or what's going on. And that really reflects on how difficult it's going to be to have these discourses on violence if the authorities are taking a step back in how they're handling these situations when they are brought to them, or when these situations are brought to light. Like the laxity with which the authorities, or even the collaboration that the authorities are having with the people with the money, and then so now it's you against the other guy who has the money. And so if you don't have the money and you don't have anybody to defend you, then your case is as good as dead, Aside from that, a very important thing that I felt should have been included in the film, and I felt this really missed out perhaps on my end. I don't know about you, but perhaps on my end was the which I struggle with a lot in a lot of films that try to highlight the situations of gender-based violence, or situations of violence, or situations of societal, just very important societal discourses. Is romanticizing the situation. In this case of Makosa Yangu, of the film Makosa Yangu, when the producers of the film decide that they're now flipping the coin, and Nafisa is able to escape the husband, and then comes back to render her revenge. I found that scene a little bit. I understand that we want to try and bring our films to a place where they can be put side by side with the films that are produced for lack of a better word, Hollywood worthy or international worthy films. And a lot of these things is trying to romanticize situations, and it makes it difficult to have sober discourses about these problems that are being put out there to us, because I just couldn't piece that part really well of I get it. I would have gotten it if the film would have ended in the part where Nafisa is able to escape, because really the goal is to be able to come out of this situation. But I found it a little bit problematic for us to go back and render revenge. And I'm like, even if you're rendering revenge, is this how the revenge is rendered ideally? Is this realistically how the revenge is rendered? So I had a bit of a problem. It's one of a bit of the problem that I feel I could highlight there, is that in the production of films and to create a space where we can have discussions about societal misfortunes and misfits and all of these things, is to actually create believability. I mean, bring a situation that is actually believable. Unless the producers actually say that this is actually a true story that happened, I think towards the ending of the film was a bit too I would say Hollywoodized or something like that. Like, it now became like we are romanticizing this thing, and that's not it. I mean, is this the reality? Is this really what happens? You know? And so, if this is what happens, is this the message that we are passing to is this how we are supposed to be solving the problem, by, you know, going back and exposing yourself to danger by trying to um, carry out revenge on somebody whom you know has connections with the police, has the connections with the government, has the money, and can actually harm you? How do you go about this particular situation? So that part of the film really disturbed me a little bit, and I was like, I wish we had an ending that was a little bit more realistic. Yeah, in a way that we see how it pans out once Nafisa comes out of you know, out of this place. I mean, how does she move this her situation into the society and have conversations about it? You know, the her meeting the other nurse was a very good part of the clip, and then again, it's a little bit of a lapse when Nafisa finally sets herself free, or is able to break herself free, and she goes out to the road, and she's on the road crying, and a random vehicle just passes by, and the woman passes by and picks her, and I am left to wonder what happened here. I mean, for a Kenyan who understands, or who gets who is able to tell that this is perhaps Njeri or Migwi trying to save this woman. It's not obvious. It's not an obvious thing to the general society, because it seems to say, where is this person coming from? What is the connection between this person and Nafisa? Did she call her? Did she call this person? There is no place in the film where we are introduced to this random woman that picks Nafisa off the road, and I think that is the lapse in the film, and it should have been important to actually introduce these agencies in one way or the other, to introduce this agency into the film, perhaps through the nurse at the hospital, in one way or the other. And that's just my man thinking that to have a general conversation about the film is to develop the characters to completion, to fruition, like which misses out on the point of you know, when you're talking about identity, you want to give the identity in completion. You don't want to give the identity in half and leave your audiences wondering, where from this one? We didn't see this person get introduced, or we didn't see this part of the film being introduced at any point in the film. Suddenly we are introduced to it, and now we have to deal with it. I think that was a little bit of a deficit. And then generally, it is sad about how nonchalant the society we live in is, in that how is a woman, how is it that Nafisa is out here in the road, and nobody is concerned that this is a random woman being chased by a random man in a bike. What could be going on? You get it? What could be going on? So again, that particular part of the film shows about how nonchalant the society is, and it takes away from the identity of what Africa as a social as a socially inclined as a socially inclined society. Like if we are really that like we are communal, like we exist as a community, how is it that somebody is being chased on the road by a woman being chased, or just anybody being chased on the road, and nobody is interested in making a follow-up and stuff like that? Those are very it looks like very minor things, but they really bring back into the conversations about culture and how culture and how it protects its people, basically. Nafisa's friend Jojo, very interesting. um, it's sad that beyond Jojo there is no way for Nafisa to actually because she doesn't have anybody to fall back on, because the friendship is just limited to Jojo alone. And so when Jojo gets an accident, is in the hospital, and she's incapacitated, she cannot help her friend in any way or the other. And the question begs that which other ways can we reach out to people? I mean, why are we having such a dysfunctional society that you do not have a clan of people that you can actually reach out on? I mean, if not your friend Jojo, can you call your auntie? Can you call your cousin? And stuff like it's really a reflection of a deficit in the society in terms of the connections or the relationships that we have. We have these relationships that are existing in strings that are almost tearing off. You're literally holding it here, so that if you just move a little bit, then it's going to tear down. And that's the kind of relationship that we are having. I mean, can't you call your uncle? Can't you call your neighbor? Can you not call your can you not call your why are we not having a society where you can actually call somebody else apart from your friend who may be sick and may not be in a capacity to help you? And that is a very very beautiful part, that and a very good thing for the film to highlight about the dysfunction in the society, in that if you do not have this one person, this one friend that you're going to call, you don't call any other person to come to your rescue, to come to your aid at any particular point that you feel like you're in danger or your life is endangered. Yeah, so overall, I would say that the film did a really good job of showing Nairobi, basically, and also presenting out how we want to discuss femicide, like how do we discuss femicide, gender-based violence, and abuse within the context of Kenyan people, based on how the Kenyan people interact, based on how the Africans um, relate with each other, based on what the society is at the moment. It's actually sad, because when you watch the news right now, you'd be like, somebody was pushed and fell from the 10th floor of a building to down, and then you're asking yourself, where are the neighbors? You walked past somebody looking disgruntled. What, is it impossible to ask a person, are you okay? Good morning, how is your day going? We are living so much in dysfunction, so that your neighbor doesn't even know what's going on with you, because all in the name of individualism and all in the name of mind your own business, which is not really a good way to live, because sometimes you really want your neighbor to mind your business, because your neighbor is the one that's going to extend and their help and call for help and have somebody come to rescue you. And a lot of these abuses are happening right under our noses, because we have a dysfunctional society, in that you cannot count on any of the people that are close to you, not even your neighbor. You cannot count on your parents, because you have a dysfunctional relationship with them, and you cannot, like, you're dealing with traumas that you are unable to unpack before you move into relating with somebody and seeing them for who they really are, and not for what they bring to the table. And thank you so much again, Apple and the Philip Productions, for bringing out this film for us to have sober discussions about violence within our societies. Yeah, and in this case, gender-based violence, and how to just walk from it and how to unpack everything, So if you have not watched the film, I'm encouraging you to go watch it because this is a really beautiful film, and it is from here that we begin to have discussions about how we would like for ourselves to be represented in films, and how we would like for our stories to be told, and how we would like to get ourselves engaged in the discourse, in the larger discourses that affect every one of us in the world in different ways. And so thank you so much for sticking around. I would love to hear your discussion and what you think about the film and how everything was represented. I may have missed out a lot of things, So yeah, those are a lot of the things that I picked. It was really beautiful to watch this film. So you go right ahead and watch it and leave a comment down there. I would appreciate it. Until next time. Yay, bye bye. Thank you so much. Sure. So, kimono from Sally. Thank you, Sally. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sally. This is really beautiful. Thank you. Oh, I can't wait to wear the rest of them, but yeah, this will do. Irembo Nigarama. Nigara. Am I the only person who dances when I put in a new clothes? I have to. Like, yeah. My mother would be like, Mananyatena, Manawini. Ah, Manawini, Manadiana Manawini. Yeah, Mama, Mawini. Mawini in her actual sense. Mawini. Oh, this is so nice. Oh, yeah. About this pendant. Oh, wow. So this one was given to me by a little friend of mine at the park. I took my little kid to go to the park. And then this girl walks up to me and says, "Hi, you're so beautiful. And I have this gift for you." And she gives me this beautiful pendant. Yeah. These are the little things, right? This is from my friend, my twin, Dorcas. This is little Dorcas, yeah. Thank you, Dorcas. These are these beautiful earrings. Try to get them in an art style. See how beautiful they are? You see that? Wewe unaona vizuri kweli. Hebu angalia. Great.